Hey guys, so now we are going to flip over into our Flourish and we are going to use Flourish to create some nice interactive visuals that then we can put into or embed into other places, have interactive images, or we can also eventually at some point include this in our maps as attributes if we want. So, but in this particular case, we're just going to use those two different sets of data that we had looked at previously, and we're going to create some visuals using Flourish. So when you create a Flourish, Flourish is free. There's no need to pay for it. You set it up with an email account, and then what you'll do is you'll hit this new visualization tool. Now, Flourish is cool because it comes with a lot of like prefabbed varieties of things that you can do. So it has maps, it has graphs, it has different kinds of graphs, things that you cannot make in Excel or that are a lot more difficult to make in Excel. So you can make some fairly standard things in Excel. You can make them look really pretty. But in this case, we're going to use this to create an interactive set of tools and also to create that bubble chart that I originally talked about. So we're going to want to create this bubble chart, which is going to show us proportionally which states have the most violations and what industry we are going to do that. Now this is going to be midway down under what's called this hierarchy tool. And so, but this goes for pretty much anything that you do in Flourish. Anything will come with a set of data already attached to it so that you can kind of take a look and see how the data is formatted so that you can take a look and see what those are and if there's something else that would serve you. So in this case, we're going to use this packed circles one. We're going to click on it and it's going to load it up. So one of the things you'll notice with this as soon as it loads is you've got things that you can adjust it by, and then in this case you've also got this nice little filter in here so that then you can zoom into the thing that you're actually interested in. So if we go over to data, this is how our information is divided up. So we've got our country name here, we've got our income classification here, we've got our population, our region, and our country code. Now, one of the things you'll notice is that the way that we had our data before isn't really going to work necessarily because we have our sizes in different categories, right? So if we go back to our function here, we have all of our things based on the going out this way instead of transposing it and transforming it so that all of these are down. Now, the typical way that I would do this is I would flip this in R and use a melt function, which is what I'm going to do right now. Otherwise, the thing that you would probably do in this particular case is you could adjust them out and then just replicate this all the way down. So, but we're going to transpose this out so that we have all of the different data that we need in this particular case. So just give me 1 minute to melt this function. All right, so now we have melted this using R. So now you can see that you've got the state, the region, each of the industries, and the case count for each in 4 nice columns. So in this particular case now, what we're going to do is we're going to head over to Flourish and we are going to get rid of all of the things in here. We're going to delete that out and instead we are going to paste our data. So we just hit Control C, copy, and now we're going to hit Control V, paste. So in this case, we've got our categories for nesting. In this case, we're not going to nest it in this case by region. So we're actually going to go through and switch this out. It automatically said A, B, C. In this case, we're going to flip this out for A and C only. Okay. And so now you'll see that this has turned this pink one into A and C. Now we're going to size this by the case count. This is going to be D, and then we're going to filter by, and so we're going to filter by this region. Now, in terms of information for pop-ups, we can have this as maybe C and D. This is going to tell us what information, when we click on each of these things, it's going to pop up as. So this is, those are the different options that we have in this case. And so then we're going to go back here. And now we can see that we have this nice little nested graphic here that is showing us all of the different wage and labor violations that we have for each of the different things. So we can see that now we have Florida, Texas, and Tennessee, and we already know that those are the three biggest ones. But you'll notice that Texas and Tennessee have retail trade as one of their biggest violators, whereas Florida has transportation and warehousing. And then if we go up a little bit further, one of the things we can also see is that actually up in Minnesota, we have finance and insurance has the highest count. And then if we go over to Arizona, it's the public administration. So these are all of the different things that we can have. Now we can change our color palette if we want. We can adjust it to have kind of a bright one, or maybe we want a little bit of pastel. We can also dictate what they are by custom override. So to do that, if I wanted to change, let's say Arizona, all I would have to do is put the label that it is, so in this case Arizona, and I'm going to say in this case that I want it to be the 6-digit count, so I want it to be black. Now, this is a super effective way to highlight out one thing that you wanted. So if I had everything else as pastels, and then I had one black one, so Arizona being, or maybe that's Arkansas, clearly I'm not American, and I had one black one, no, that's Arizona, AK is Arkansas. Yeah, no, AZ is, oh man, I don't even know. Anyhow, we're not going to deal with that. So now we can see that this one definitely pops out against all this nice pastel. Now I can have a legend if I want, but in this particular case, I don't really want one because it's just going to kind of muck it up. You can see that you have all of these different colors. There's no real point to that. We want to use our legend kind of sparingly. If we have pop-ups, in this case, we can see that our pop-up was the information that we had, which is case count and the number. So if we don't want to have a pop-up, we can also do that. But the pop-up in this case is kind of nice because then it'll also tell you, it'll break down all of these different sections of it. So if you click over, in this case, other services, public administration, then that's where that's going to go. Controls is where you can add in your filters, right? So I can say that I don't want a filter, so that's going to take that away. But in this case, I have this filter, and I'm going to leave this as a drop-down menu. So if I want to flip this out and I just want to take a look at the violations in the Northeast, then that's going to just pull out the ones in the Northeast. So you can see that in New York, we have healthcare and social assistance. And in Pennsylvania, same thing with administrative and support and waste management and remediation as some of our biggest violators in the Northeast. And Rhode Island has a much larger retail trade issue. So I can put this back if I want, but that will just give you those. I can also style my controls if I want to do that. I can add animations. In this case, this is going to be if you have different kind of years or those sorts of things. You can change the number formatting layout. I can add some text in here. So in this case, I might want to add in my source. So in this case, this source is from the wage and this is wage and hour division violations database. It's also known as Wizard, and this is from the Department of Labor. Okay, and if I want to add in the URL, I can there. I can do that there. So this is going to give me what that source is, and I can call that there, and now you can see source, wage and hour division, labor violations data. Labor violations data from the Department of Labor. There we go. And I can also add in the header, I can add in what I want my title to be. So this is the wage and labor violations from what was my first date? My first date was 1984. From 1984 to 2020 in the United States. And this is, and then in my subtitle, I can say that this is subdivided by state and industry. There we go. And so then if I go back up to the top of this, then I can see that those are showing up there. I'm going to change the name of this to wage and labor violations by state and industry, just so I can have that in my own, and maybe I am happy with this. But in this particular case, I'm actually going to go back and I'm going to get rid of this custom override, and I am going to flip this back into a dark set of colors, make it kind of nice and dark. This isn't a nice happy data set. This is kind of a bad one. And then what I can do here is I can do export and publish. So if I publish it, then I can embed it into websites, story maps, I can have a URL that I can make as an attribute, all of those different things. So that's what I'm going to do in this particular case. And then I can also, if I wanted to, just download an image. And so I could do that, I could download this, and that's just, it's not going to do an interactive one, but it will pull up just the full image that I have here. So I can use that as well in a static presentation if I want. But basically what this means is that now I have this full interactive site here that I can then embed and people can interact with. So I can put this into my website and have people interact with it. I can take a video of it and publish it to Facebook. I can do those types of things with it. So that is how we created the bubble graph. I'll be back next to show you how to do a line graph in here as well. Same sort of formatting, but just so that we can see what that looks like. Thank you so much, and I'll be back here soon.